Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Brief. Coronavirus cases are continuing to rise in Israel, but restrictions are slowly being rolled back. 199 Israelis and counting have now died of COVID-19, and over 15,295 Israelis have been diagnosed with the virus as of Saturday night. That's an increase of 260 cases over the last 24 hours, with fewer than 100 people on ventilators. So in a bid to help stimulate the economy, as of Saturday night, all stores in the public sphere will be permitted to open except for in shopping malls, which will remain closed.
It was really exciting. When we got in the car, we were like, oh my God, we're driving away. We're from Jerusalem, so it was an hour drive. We felt really excited and free, but we're not here for like a trip or just to get out. We're here because we have to get our stuff.
It's really great. I mean, we're starting to get back to business. It's really important. I'm working from home, no problem for me, but others are really suffering. We need this. The economy needs this.
Hair salons, beauty parlors, and cosmeticians will also all be allowed to open up for business, and restaurants will now be able to serve takeaway in addition to deliveries. All of these businesses will have to maintain strict rules of hygiene, though, including making sure that no more than 2 to 4 customers will be at any cash register, depending on the physical size of the shop. Store owners will then have to take the temperatures of all those who enter their businesses and put up partitions at cash registers. Also, a distance of at least 2 meters or 6.5 feet will have to be maintained by all those inside a given store. Despite the reopening of businesses, though, police enforcement is going to step up to make sure that everyone adheres to the rules. And businesses that violate any new regulations of cleanliness and hygiene could face a 2,000 shekel fine. And Israelis ages 7 and up are also now required to wear masks in public or face a fine of 200 shekels, even if they're first-time offenders. So how is the Israeli government deciding when it's right to roll back restrictions? Well, the health ministry has just set new parameters on how to decide whether or not to ease or tighten restrictions amidst the coronavirus crisis. Despite regulations being rolled back as of last night, the government says that restrictions will be increased if Israel begins to see over 300 new sick people per day, over 300 seriously ill patients, or the doubling of the national number of sick every 10 days or less. Right now, only around 200 to 300 Israelis have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in recent days. Only 130 are in serious condition, and cases are doubling around every 20 days, which is a good sign. Up north, police are beginning to take down checkpoints at the entrances of Arab towns like Deir al-Assad and Be'ina, which have been on lockdown for the last 7 days due to their own outbreaks. As of Friday, Deir al-Assad had the highest infection rate of any community in Israel, despite only having 5,000 residents. While these two towns are no longer restricted zones, they will continue to be subject to nighttime curfews throughout the whole holy month of Ramadan. But as of 6 a.m. this morning, several mainly ultra-Orthodox towns in Beit Shemesh and Netivot have gone into lockdown again because of the spike in coronavirus infections in these areas in recent days. In other news, factories in the Gaza Strip are now roaring to life, some at full capacity for the first time in years. And it's all as part of the global effort to produce badly needed personal protective equipment, or PPE. That's masks, gloves, gowns, and more, both for Gaza and for Israel. Less than 24 cases of coronavirus have been detected in the Gaza Strip, but with over 2 million people living under an already strained healthcare system, PPE, testing kits, and more are becoming increasingly hard to come by.
Gaza is facing this pandemic with its fragile and overstretched health system due to lots of factors like the long years of closure and siege.
So Gaza started producing for itself, while subsequently injecting badly needed cash into the Gaza economy. The Baha Garment Company, for example, has made over 1 million masks for Israel alone in just the past 3 weeks. And owner Rizk Al-Madoun says the handiwork is way better than that of China and Turkey. Similarly, Gaza company Unipal 2000 is producing upwards of 150,000 pieces of PPE per day. And another Gaza startup is using 3D printing technology to create face shields. Meanwhile, the International Red Cross is donating PPE and testing kits to Gaza whenever possible. But in spite of the new productivity, many still insist that the blockade around Gaza must be eased, or it'll be too little to sustain life beyond the coronavirus crisis. That's all for now, but for more news from Israel, remember to like ILTV on Facebook and on Instagram, and to subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.